And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. Another beautiful day out there. And let's jump right into some price action. At the end, we will cover some crypto news. And I'm starting it out on the daily time frame here. And first thing is first, as we mentioned, spot price action had a big bear flag, and I'm just going to draw it out again just to, for simplicity's sake here. Let's bring it back. Oh, that was not what I wanted. So let's go from this point right here to this point right here. Let's see if that does it. This thing's not giving me any love. Nope. Forget that tool. Okay. We'll try it again here. From this point here to this point here. And boom. So we said more likely than not Bitcoin to bounce here, especially after we got this closure a couple of days ago, heading up to the 9 exponential. And I did say, hey, look, very likely we do grind up against the top side of this resistance point now, which was support. And yeah, that's to be expected. We had a bounce target of I think 22,200 or 22,100 yesterday. Looks like that is being fulfilled as we speak. Close enough is close enough. And bounces can come as high as, I would say, as high as, 22,200 to 22,500. And this move still be intact. In fact, it won't get invalidated until we close a daily time frame back above 23,000. And what is the measure move off of something like this? It's pretty simple. You just take the width of the channel and you measure the breakdown, which brings us to the bottom side of the range here. Anywhere between 19,000 and 19,300, I think, is in fair play. It's in play right now. Additionally, we can line this up with a bearish retracement, which is more in line with this target here at 19,300. If we're using candle bodies, if we're using wicks, that does get you a little bit further down to about 18,000 bucks. And why are we expecting this thing to break down a bit further and hit the 2618 fib? And that would be based off of the 4-drive philosophy, which 4 drives of hidden bearish divergence. And that is, again, when price is making lower highs and RSI is making higher highs. And that is, in fact, what we have here coming back from this point. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 higher highs in RSI and 4 lower highs in price. That is the hidden bearish divergence right there. And that does typically get you a move to the 2618 fib. And what else do we have on the board here? So Stokes will be crossing up from a low level. However, volatility is, and they will cross up today above 21,133. If the daily Stokes do cross up today, I would expect probably the bounce to get extended a little bit more over some time, maybe over the next couple of days. So these moves don't happen all at once. And another reason why I'm leaning towards these $22,500 target is we did get a tick above that low right there, and that will be our first drive of hidden bullish divergence, where price is making, nope, that is not hidden bullish divergence. So we got lower lows there. What about on the daily time frame? We got a lower low there. And yeah, that was the first ever so slightly drive of hidden bullish divergence, where price is making a higher low and RSI was making a lower low. So that, again, the first drive typically gets you up to the 9 exponential. And let's see, what else do we have on the board here? I want to cover the 5-day time frame, as volatility is extremely low and did not cross to the downside. So it's still in an upside posture. That is a point for the bulls. However, we do have our first completed drive of bearish divergence on the 5-day time frame. And that would be coming in from this point to this point. Again, that is going to typically play out to the downside. So let's check out the CMEs, where all the professional traders are trading. And we got the same hidden bearish divergence, just barely. Let's see if we have any bullish divergence on the other side. So what would we be looking for from this point here? Yep, that would be one, and it really depends off if you consider that a low. I don't really consider that a low. This would be a confirmed low. So here we go. 1, 2, 3 drives. So 3 higher lows in price and lower lows in RSI. Now this is not a confirmed low yet. In fact, I think we're just getting a backfill at the moment on CMEs, and where can those fills come in? A weak bounce is going to come up to the 382 fib, which is pretty much our target, which we've already hit. Stronger bounces 22.5, and then the bull trap at 22.860. So those things are in play as well, and CMEs will not cross for another 5 days and 5 hours. So basically this would probably be one of the strongest indicators, is when momentum does cross back to the downside on the 5-day closure, and it will cross down below 20,315. So we're pretty far distance away from there. But you can see the last time it crossed down right here at this pivot, we had a pretty nice downwards move. This pivot is as well another huge downside move. And if we do confirm this as another lower high, which it's all but confirmed, this is a lower high in my book. That should drive targets down to at least the bottom side of the range, if not even get it more extension down. Let's take some of these drawing tools off real quick. And let's take that off, that off. So what am I talking about? From this high right here, we would have 1, 2, 3 lower highs. Get you a shot to the bottom side of the range. So does that mean it's going to break on the first pass? I think that's a little bit less likely for the first pass. But again, targets down to the 19.3 region have been initiated, as long as Bitcoin is really closing dailies again below 23,000. If you're more aggressive, call it 22.8. As long as we're closing below this pivot right here, 22,500, that's where I would, really start to consider this as invalidated. Volatility is still expanding. Momentum is to the downside on the daily time frame. However, we will cross up above 22,452. So if we do get Stokes to cross up on the daily time frame for CMEs, we could be talking a whole nother story, and potentially a move all the way back up to get the gap fill there. So a lot is at stake here over the next couple of days. We'll be keeping a close eye on Bitcoin. What else is happening here today and why the market is bouncing a little bit? You can see NASDAQ up a half a point along with the rest of the indexes there, S&P and Dow, and the dollar is still holding pretty strong here. However, if we do start to fail here and this does roll over, any kind of a daily closure on the dollar below 108 is probably going to give me a little bit more of an upside bias. That being said, I do see a trade I want to take here on the other side of the fence really quick. So let's see if I can't get in this for a little bit of a trade to the downside. On what asset am I looking at? This guy right here, Ethereum Classic, actually making it up to that pivot, and looks like we are going to get rejected on the daily time frame. On the 15-minute, we are starting to roll over. Volatility has maxed out, and the question is, are we going to continue to the downside? Are we going to continue to the downside? And I would expect actually a move at least at a minimum down to the 9 at 35.81. At the moment, volatility is maxed out, and you can see the RSI got to extreme levels here. Probably, puts in a little bit of a bounce here first, but we are starting to close below the Bollinger Band here, kind of signaling the move is over on the shorter term time frames. And I think this could get extended down to at least 35.27. Yep, so Ethereum Classic did lead this little rally here today, up 5%, while Ethereum's up 0.7% and Bitcoin is up almost 1% today. Again, volatility is maxed out on the 30-minute. The hour is getting up to extreme levels, indicating, hey, maybe a little bit of a top. This would be a falling star or a reversal candle, which, there's a pretty big move here for Ethereum Classic. Now, I had a request. Somebody wanted to check out a couple other altcoins, one of them being Aave. So let's take a look at Aave really quick here. And I'm going to put it on the daily to start it out. So very similar price action to Bitcoin. And what do I see? First thing is first, I'm looking for divergences coming back from this point right here. And this would be 1. And that is where price is making lower lows and RSI is making higher lows. So coming back from this point right here, that would be 1, 2, call it 3 right here. And that should give us a shot potentially to the top side of the range. However, this thing's going to do whatever Bitcoin does. And so this one almost has a similar chart to Ethereum. Coming back from this pivot right here. You could draw it something like that. This was the breakdown level. So essentially, if Aave starts closing back above the breakdown level, which is at 103, then I would say, hey, probably going to carry the move onwards and upwards. Daily Stokes are crossing up from a very low level. So what I would like to see is something like this for Aave to come up a little bit more, put in another higher low above this low, and a lower low in RSI. So something like this, come up a little higher, and another higher low, and another lower high, and another higher low, while RSI is doing this. Well, RSI is making these, let's see, how many lower lows in RSI? Is that, nope. So we got one drive. So you want to see at least 3 drives to get a shot to the top side of the range. But again, this is going to do whatever Bitcoin does. And more aggressive traders would say, okay, above 96, 95, they're going to get bullish. And that looks like it's right above the 50% retracement, which is, yep, coming in. Here's the 618 at 98.68, and then the 0.5 is right there. So that is what I have to say for Mr. Aave. Let's look at it on a weekly time frame. What do we see? A very similar chart to Ethereum and Bitcoin. Again, these altcoins are kind of like higher beta Bitcoins, right? They're going to do whatever Bitcoin does, more to the upside and less to the downside. Aave is a project that I do like. I think they have a great lending platform on the DeFi space. We got momentum to the upside. However, you know, some bearish divergence is playing out, coming from this point right here. So you got a slightly, let's see, Aave. So what is bearish divergence? Price is making higher highs and RSI is making lower highs. That's classic bearish divergence. And we don't have any of that. So do we have any hidden bearish divergence? In a downtrend, price makes a lower high, RSI makes a higher high. So nope, we don't really have any of that. So let's look for that bullish divergence on the other side. Coming back from this point right there. Yes, you do have, well, the RSI doesn't go back that far because it's too new of an asset. So on the monthly time frame, let's look at it on the monthly time frame. Do we have any divergences here? So putting in a slightly higher high and a higher low is not completed yet, but that would be kind of your first tip off. But this looks toppy to me. So if Bitcoin does come back down to that 19,300 level, which I'm fairly confident will happen, this guy probably heads all the way down to, you know, 53 bucks, which, to put a little math on that, we're talking about a 42% retracement at a minimum. And if this thing does the full retrace, which that would be down to 30 bucks. All right, the other one, Aave and Comp. And these are both very similar platforms, similar assets. Both projects I love. Compound, I'm a user. And so this one, unlike Aave, did not make a higher high. On the weekly time frame, if we go from the high to the low using candle bodies, this is called a weak bounce. And so I'd say this one is a bit weaker than Aave. And again, it's going to do whatever Bitcoin does, but more. And if we do a bearish retracement, which would be from the low to the high, we're bouncing off the 0.5. If we get any kind of a weekly closure below 44, I would be looking for this one to come all the way back down to the 100 percentile at $31. Let's see if we see anything on the daily time frame. And on the daily time frame, we did slightly put in a higher. Okay, so let's see if we got the 4 drive philosophy, and we are getting the silver cross to the downside. Usually the first cross to the upside after being away from it from a long time does fail, and that's exactly what happened on this guy right now. And coming from this high. Let's see if we have any divergences, and I'm willing to bet we do. So all the way from this high right here, no, this high right here. Now, could you confirm that as a local high? No, I would be looking back to this point. And even that is close, you know. Some might want to look back to this high right here because you want to see a clear stop and reverse point. To me, in my book, you could probably consider that one, but let's be safe. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 drives of hidden bearish divergence on the daily time frame. And so what I would do is take the prior low and using candle bodies, that gives us a target way down here to 20 bucks. First target's going to be 38 bucks. I think if we use this as a prior low right here, that's going to line up a little bit nicer. And yeah, I would consider that a low. This one's a tough one to call. But I am, in general, looking for the market to come down alongside Bitcoin. There's just so much bearish news out there. We got the Jackson Hole meeting coming up on Friday, and that, I do believe, will kind of set the tone for the market. So if the Fed comes out more hawkish, saying, hey, we're going to raise rates, we're going to continue offloading the balance sheet, bad for Bitcoin, bad for stocks. If for some reason he tries to fluff the market again and says, hey, we might not raise rates, we're still, looking at the data, and you start to see, a lot of news outlets kind of give this fluffy picture of the economy recovering, and they're not going to do 75 basis points, they're only going to do 50. I would be looking for more of a bounce to begin to happen. That being said, let's cover some crypto news. I think that's enough for today, unless the last one people want to touch on is Ethereum. We'll just check back in. We said, hey, probably going to do something similar to Bitcoin, and I did give out some bounce targets yesterday. 1713 looks like close enough is close enough there, and a kind of point of failure, or that is the 618 fib coming in at 1788, and I would say any kind of a closure above 1850. The targets to the downside, first target is 1368. Second target is about $1,000 based on the 4-drive philosophy. Let's see how that plays out over the next week or so. So that's pretty much the same thing for Ethereum and the crypto news. So I thought this was pretty interesting. This was on Bloomberg, of all places, and gosh, we're going to get some advertisements here. Horrible. So UK inflation hits double digits for the first time in 40 years. Yes, consumer prices rose 10.1% from a year ago, more than expected. Inflationary pressures moves beyond energy into food costs. And so consumer price index rose 10.1% in July from a year earlier after a 9.4% gain on the month before. And the Office for National Statistics said Wednesday that the reading was higher than expected by both the BOE and private sector economists. So, hey, is that going to translate into some stock market turbulations over in the UK? Probably. Okay. Next up, Citi projects UK inflation to breach 18% in January as energy prices soar. Look, we've already breached 18% in the US. Just look at the grocery store, look at the gas tank, look at everything out there. Don't believe the lie that the Fed is feeding people that, inflation is transitory and it's only at 9%. They're not taking into account things like food and energy, that the things we need to survive. So I think it's just more, Citigroup's willing to stake their reputation. So if they're saying it's 18%, it's probably near 30, 40% in Europe or in the UK. Okay, error found. This website uses cookies also. Love that. Bitcoin Magazine, come on. I heard they brought on a new host this morning. That's exciting. And I think they're in Amsterdam doing a convention right now, which is exciting. Okay, next up. China to accept eCNY payment for public transportation within CBDC testing. What do you know? The Chinese rolling out their CBDC. This year, authorities have significantly expanded the use of the CBDC. We've been talking about this for over a year now. They already launched the digital money in China, right? They just started out with a small province. Now they're expanding. It says they've moved to the next phase of testing its central bank digital currency. Look, Colombia is doing it. I forgot the other one. I think Brazil is on the way. What is this? It's one of the greatest threats to freedom, because once they go, hey, everybody who's struggling out there because of the depression we caused, right? They're raising rates and sucking liquidity out. Download our free app and we'll give you a free $5,000 to spend. You download the app and then they just go, oh, we're changing it. No more paper money. And now everywhere you go, when you buy something, right, where your money is spent tells you everything about a person, frankly. So it literally will be to the point where they're tracking where you're breathing. It's really, really scary. But let's see. I'm just going to call him Zhang, the director of Beijing-based Blockchain Research Center for O1 Finance, said, quote, the transportation system adaptation is a key step in the pilot operation phase of the digital RMB. It further expands the scope of the use of digital RMB. So, yep, I guess apparently you can pay for the subway in China with the new CBDC, the digital renminbi. All right. Ripple news, exciting. Everybody loves to hear Ripple news, and that is Ripple extending their presence to the UAE through Tranglo. So they just launched something in Brazil. Now they're launching something in the UAE. I wonder if they're diversifying their prospects around the globe to avoid, if this SEC lawsuit doesn't work out too good, at least they'll be operating in other countries. So the United Arab Emirates, through its investment partner Tranglo, is known for cross-border payment company offering enhanced cross-border payments through RippleNet. Also, the payments company provides its services across 120 countries, 650 mobile operators, 2,200 banks and wallets, and 140,000 cash pickup points, announcing the extension. So US-based payment protocol Ripple is expanding into the UAE. And it seems like the UAE is really becoming crypto friendly, right? They're inviting innovation and cryptocurrency into their country because they know it's the future. Everybody does. So let's set ourselves up for success. Not buy into the hype right now, but wait for the market lows to come, because when the stock market gets beat up, Bitcoin will get beat up, and that'll create buying opportunities of a lifetime for some of these, for not only Bitcoin and Ethereum, but some of these altcoins are going to go on fire sale. And so we're going to be watching this every step of the way. Hope you guys like and subscribe to the video, and post a comment if you have any other coins you want me to cover. I'm happy to do that. Thanks and have a blessed day.